Back with another episode of The Crossover with your host, Ravi and B. This week, we had planned to discuss All-Star starters, but something came down the pipe this afternoon that must be discussed. I think by now, everyone in the hoops world and sports world must know about the firing of one David Blatt of the Cleveland Cavaliers, head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, dismissed after about a year and a half on the job. Resume is a finals appearance. Had a team in first place with 30-11 coming into the All-Star break in about a week's time or 2 weeks' time, and with the number one seed in the East. But in this case, Cleveland felt they had to make a move, and Tyronn Lue is your new head coach for 3 years. He signed that deal, boy, before the ink was even dry. He was getting his pen out. So, Ravi, have at it, man. What do you think?
Hey, man, we had some pre-discussions on our BBM chat today with the guys, and I think, first of all, he would have been the All-Star coach for the East.
Well, on a side note, I have not looked at any of these conversations yet, what you guys discussed today, so this is all fresh to me. Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. Like, this has got to be a record. I don't think this has ever happened. I don't think I ever recall a situation where an All-Star coach was...
That's exactly it. So, yeah, I mean, here we go. Again, pretty much it's GM LeBron calling the shots.
Oh, okay.
Now, GM LeBron calling the shots, you can dispute it. You can say what you want. I mean, no move of that magnitude is made without his blessing or his direction. Whichever one you want to go with. But my issue here is what it's always been with any LeBron team. For the most part, you got LeBron making decisions, especially, last year and this year as he went back to Cleveland, and everyone else takes the blame while GM LeBron is calling the shots, and he's absolved of any blame if the team doesn't win at all. So, it's he has this handpicked guy now going into the second half of the season. So let's see how they do. But I want to know what the excuse is going to be now if they don't win it all this year. Because, people are criticizing Blatt, saying, Cleveland doesn't have a system. They don't know what kind of offense they're running. But it's hard to run the coach's system when you have LeBron interjecting himself and doing whatever he wants on the floor, taking over huddles and pretty much undermining the coach to a certain extent.
Okay. We knew it was going to happen sooner or later. Leave me at least, that train's never late. So I was waiting for that blame game to start with James. So here's my take on this. And I asked this, and I posted to you and all the other Blatt disciples now all of a sudden coming out the woodwork. Let me ask you this. Do you think in this case, David Blatt as coach, they could win a finals with David Blatt as head coach after what you've seen after 18 months? I put it out there. Do you think they can win with David Blatt as head coach? Hey, Robbie, did we lose you? Oh, so hold on.
B, you're cutting out on me.
Yeah, man. We just had a little technical difficulties here. Listen, hold on, folks.
You're freezing.
I'm freezing. I'm freezing. Okay. Let me pause this. I'm back. You're back. Hello? Robbie?
There we go.
There you go? Okay, we're back. Okay. We're back, folks. Okay. So the question I posed in this case to you is for all the Blatt disciples. What do you think in this case Blatt could win? Do you see a Cleveland team winning with this coaching performance that we've seen after 18 months?
Well, I don't think you've seen his. I'm by no means a Blatt disciple. I really don't care for the guy one way or the other. But I think he's just been an easy scapegoat for the last season and a half to a certain extent. So,
okay.
The guy he has his team in first place going into the All-Star break. So what's the rationale for firing him at this particular time?
Here's my thing. I mean, everyone found a rationale when Mark Jackson got canned, right? 50-plus win team.
Yeah.
At the time, you know what? We're saying, oh, what the heck? Why you fired Mark Jackson? I am one that said so. I still feel in this case Mark Jackson should be coaching this league. But I can't knock the results.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done. Okay, then. Now we come here. A man in this case in Oklahoma City, we win 60 games and had the two top players pretty much done in a year. They still got rid of him. At some point, you got to look at yourself and say, you know what? Can I win with this coach or can I win with this player, whatever it may be? And this coach, well, I'll just finish this up. This coach has made boneheaded decisions that we watched, in this case, high school coaches would not make. Okay? We watched this man, in this case, run plays for J.R. Smith to end games, and the player that is the star player and the best player in the league at the time, like, dude, what the heck are you doing? We've seen this dude run offenses that don't work towards his team player's strength, and pretty much, and firstly, I'll tell folks, if you can find this interview with Brendan Haywood that was on NBA radio this afternoon, unbelievable insight on what he gives. And dude was not thinking. First thing, he wasn't bashing Blatt. He actually liked Blatt personally. Thought he was a nice man. Didn't think he was a bad coach, but he said some things about there that when you hear what he had to say and then what you remember with your eyes, the two start making complete sense. For example, he mentioned this case in the first 20-some-odd games, talk about Blatt's stubbornness. Blatt wanted to run a Princeton offense. Knowing full well in this case the players he has there don't work with a Princeton offense. But he can't try to ram that down your throat for 30-some-odd games. Till at some point the player said, dude, this is not working. Tyronn Lue pretty much had to take the Clippers offense in this case he had there to revamp the offense in this case middle of the year. And lo and behold, what happened? The team turned around and the players started getting productivity. We now have about a year and a half now of Kevin Love. Whatever you want to say about Love. Don't play defense, don't do this and that. He's still a talented player. You can't figure out a way to get Kevin Love to be the best player he can be. I didn't even have to watch the game against Golden State the other night. I already knew how they would lose that game. You're putting Kevin Love in pick and rolls on defense? Pick and roll. Kevin Love can't guard his own shadow, but you continue to do it. These are the type of things where you sit here and go like, why am I going down this insanity if I'm going down this path again to think that in the finals all of a sudden things will be different when he's getting coached against Kerr again or Popovich or Doc. You think in those circumstances you really feel good going with Blatt as your coach? So in my mind, it's like you can put him out of his misery now or you could wait in this case for the self-destruction to happen when you get in the finals. Because I think that's what they saw. They said, you know what? They lost the week before to San Antonio. They got blown out at home, embarrassed on MLK Day with Golden State. And I said, they're going themselves like, why are we doing this? Because in this case here, this dude's not going to get it done. Were you watching this in case not know how many timeouts he had against the Chicago series, I think it was. I think it was Chicago where these are basic things. There's one point Brendan Haywood said last year, which I could not believe this. I actually remember the game he said this. Closeout game against Atlanta. They're up by like 30 or something. Remember, it was a blow up from the moment the bell rung.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter comes up, 6 minutes left to go in the game. The knucklehead coach is looking around trying to put Tristan Thompson back in the game. The players had to get off the bench and say, what are you doing? Okay, we got like 8 dudes barely to play, and you're putting a man in the game with 30-point lead that we need. We only got like 2 bigs, and you're putting him back in the game. Things like that, when it comes to substitution patterns, Brendan Haywood would say he have a clue what he's doing. So when I look at that, at some point the players in this case say, you know what, we can blame LeBron if he wants, but this is more LeBron. When it's all said and done, this is way more LeBron when it's all said and done. The fact is they picked a coach in this case that thought in this case he'd be dealing with a bunch of high schoolers, and he got the big leagues. And when it's all said and done, he was ready for the big leagues when it's all said and done. And like we can say so, it looks bad because they got fired before the All-Star break. And it's like, yo, this is the NBA, dude. This ain't Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. Sorry. If we had no problem justifying Mark Jackson getting fired, or in this case here, homeboy from Oklahoma City in this case here, or whoever else, these are all the guys that won 60 games and 50 games, why would we not think in this case Blatt shouldn't, be fired after the boneheaded mistakes? He's dealing with the most valuable commodity in the league. The one player in this league that you put on any team, they're immediately winning 55 games. No player in the league you can do that with besides one. And he's around there screwing around with it right now.
But is he telling LeBron James what to do? Is anybody telling LeBron James?
Well, that was another point Brendan Haywood said in this case here. Because the thing he said, listen, he was not in this case, for example, film will happen, Brendan Haywood said. LeBron there misses a rotation. Mm-hmm. He won't say anything. He'll gloss past it. Next play, in this case here, Tristan Thompson misses a rotation. He's down his throat. Now, we know in this case here, that won't do. Now, I'm not saying that you don't treat your star player a little differently, but you have to hold them accountable to some extent. Now, the question is, in this case here, if here's the thing that I find irony about this. LeBron James, as in my mind, from his whole career from high school, LeBron James doesn't mind if someone gets in his face. Like, he's not going to go out there and say, oh, he should be fired the next day. He's not like a particular player or two that we know of. I ain't naming names, but we know it in this case here. They'll be the first thing smoking. I ain't naming names tonight. All I'm saying is, his history shows in this case, yeah, he might get a little sour with you, but he'll learn and he'll be better for it. Okay, be it for his high school time, to even when it comes to old Bubba Brown in this case here, if they got in him a little bit, of course, in this case, Riles and Spoelstra, they get into him a little bit. Yeah, he may not like it, but once you're firm with them, he'll back down in this case here. Because when it's all said and done, LeBron James ain't going to look to fire no coach.
He's not looking to fire a coach, but I mean...
But the problem is Blatt never took it there. Blatt never. So
I don't think Blatt had I don't think he had it to take it.
But that's my point in this case here. Blatt never had it in this case here. And I think LeBron had disrespect for him. It's like, dude, you're supposed to be coaching me, and you're not coaching me. And the more he did it, it actually worked in reverse. The less respect LeBron had for him. It's a reversal thing, but I think that's what happened. It's like LeBron says, I'm gonna be like a typical kid. I'm gonna push my boundary and see how much I can get away with. It's like, dude, you're not doing anything about it? Dude, you're still not doing nothing about it? Okay, well, what the heck I gotta listen to you for? So I think that's what it comes down to when it's all said and done. That, to me, I think that's the case. Yeah, and LeBron did what he wanted to do. I'm not saying it was right, but
but what I'm saying is, when he was in Miami, he had guys with a certain type of resume. He had no choice to listen to.
Yeah, but even in Cleveland, he wasn't like that the first time around.
No, he wasn't like that in Cleveland. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
This is a different LeBron going back to Cleveland the second time around. This is two-time champion LeBron going back. So you have a rookie head coach. Obviously, it wasn't. Like you said earlier, the coach's pick prior to the Cavs knowing he was coming back. But I'm telling, this is a different LeBron than that first.
I grant you that, but in this case here, I look at the body of work for 12 years. LeBron's never had any real issue with any coach before this one. So ask yourself that. LeBron's never known as being coach killer. There's plenty of dudes that can put on the hit list for that. I can put at least about half a dozen up top of my head just without blinking an eye that are coach killers. LeBron's never been on that list.
I'm pretty sure the Cleveland higher ups, LeBron to a certain extent, I'm sure they know that they were going to keep this guy around long term. So why not do it at the end of the season? Why not do it before the start of the season?
Well, that's my point, that you guys are ready to start jumping about LeBron doing it. Because if LeBron wanted him out, LeBron could have said so from the moment before he even got out the gym in this case in Cleveland in Game 6. Out Oakland. He even to get back to the plane said, yo, don't bother getting on the plane if he wanted that to happen. So, like, everyone wants to make this thing about, well, LeBron wanted him out. Well, if LeBron wanted him out, LeBron could have had him out after when they were 20 and 19. He could have had him out. Get had him out at the All-Star break last year. Get had him out at the end of the finals when they got beaten 6. You get had them out in this case if you wanted to, just before the season started if you wanted to. If you wanted them out. So at 30-11 after they beat the Clippers, now all of a sudden now, like, eureka! LeBron now wants to fire him now. Like, to me, like, the narrative seems juicy. I get it. But it doesn't make sense from a logic standpoint based on the fact that he could have fired him at any time. He could fire him out. He wrote the open letter and said, you know what? Dude, it's been nice. Send you your pension and get my man here. He could have been big balling from there if he wanted to.
Hey, so I want him to have the coach he wants. I want him to have the trainer he wants. I want him to have the ball boys he wants. But even that, want him to have, because I don't want any excuses.
But even that, if
the Cavs don't.
But hold on. But even that point that you said doesn't even make sense to me, at least, because I'm saying if you didn't want any excuses, when you want to keep Blatt, he's the ultimate excuse. He keep him on for infinity. And he always had the excuse, well, he wasn't my coach. If you really wanted to do that, that's really the play. If, to your point, you keep Blatt forever, and you always got to get a free card. Well, he wasn't my coach. You can just kind of imply all the time. So the logic you're working doesn't work in my mind, because really Blatt should stay if that's the case, because that's the ultimate trump card. Well, he isn't my coach. Now he has his coach. So you can't have it both ways. It can't be like, well, you can't have all excuses in the world. What excuses? He says, pretty much, if you're going to get the coach, is the guy late. Now, I'm not saying, now I'm sure some way they spoke over time, saying that if you had to move him, who would you, find welcoming? Or I'm sure in this case, they're not blind in this case, the Cleveland management. They know that LeBron takes a Tyronn Lue as well as other players. They're probably saying, okay, fine. But the fact in this case that he's made so many just just boneheaded decisions that I can sit on my couch and look at. You can't expect when you have that type of team in this case that's winning now to put that type of guy with that responsibility on it. So you either deal with it now or deal at the end of the season and lose another season. And I don't, in a way, the more I think about this, I kind of don't blame Cleveland at this point, because at this point it's like, yo, we got no time to be waiting around for this. Because another issue that was going on here that we haven't talked about yet was minutes, which is kind of leading to the thing about Tristan Thompson going back in. Supposedly these guys were saying like this guy was playing dudes too many minutes. Last year they had asked for all sorts of scenarios to have guys playing in the backup, be it James Jones or who else had it? Verjao. This year they're begging for Verjao to get some more minutes. Guys playing Mozgov all of a sudden. The man Griffin, in this case the GM, brings in Mo Williams, who anybody would say in a heartbeat, if you had Mo Williams or Dellavedova, who is the better player? No one's even questioning that. But yet Dellavedova keeps on getting minutes and playing in front of Mo Williams. Why is that? The whole purpose of bringing Mo Williams was to improve that position. These are the type of things that people are talking about where the management had nothing to do with LeBron. The management was saying, what the heck are you doing? I'm bringing Mo Williams. The guy's actually been an all-star. The guy can put 20 points at any given night. And you're still putting out Dellavedova out there. What the heck? So people want, I know in the talk radio it would be sweet because, heck, LeBron's the public enemy number one. I get it. LeBron could do nothing right, so I get that. He's the easy target. But when you start listening to folks like Haywood and folks that are behind the Cleveland scene, folks are like, dude doesn't know what he's doing. Stubborn dude, and you can hear it in press conferences. This dude was smelling himself nicely. Talk about his rings in Israel. You don't give a damn about your rings in Israel. Man, give me a break. No one care what you did in Tel Aviv. Ain't no one care about that, dude. Get the heck out of here with that. No.
Brian discounting the Maccabi Tel Aviv.
I'm sorry, dude. They ain't cutting it. If college coaches come in here and know better to yap about, you think Billy Donovan's saying, well, I have 2 championships at Florida. Get the heck out of here during that crap. You think Billy Donovan's coming here and saying that? No. Give me a break. This dude's running around here and talking about, I smell championship. Dude, all right, man, we got a little technical difficulties, folks, but I just make my point. I don't get the love pick and roll stuff. I mean, that alone should give you a fireable offense. But anyways, last point, you Ravi, please tell me about how Blatt was unfair about the situation.
No, I think I covered it all, man. I think for the guy, they should have. The timing to me is just very interesting.
I mean, I get it. I think the thing is that if you didn't do it now, then you're getting to a point where it starts rolling downhill. Because once you get after the All-Star break, you're really gonna fire a guy then? Like 20 games left this season?
Yeah.
It gets difficult. If this is like the last line before you really could do it. You're not gonna do it a weekend eve the All-Star game with the guys about the coach.
Well, I mean, I think I would have liked to see them made this move. Like I said, at the beginning of the season, I think LeBron needs to realize, as well as Cleveland, he only has a few. I mean, I say his window's closing.
Well, that's the point. I think from what I understand, what Brendan Haywood was trying to say was like, look, you're playing guys in this case here at older fellas in this case. Obviously, LeBron being the most thing in this case. The stats are out there with the amount of minutes he plays. You're not.
How old is he now? 31.
31, and minutes that probably are good for about a 35-year-old. You're not managing his minutes properly. Then last year, supposedly, they played Kyrie so much, people think that's one of the reasons why he blew out the knee. And he's already a fragile paper-mache player to begin with, so you better manage his minutes. So when you look at those two players, you just can't be just riding guys 37, 38 minutes and just think like, oh, no problem, I'll just ride LeBron some more tonight. Like, it just can't be. And he made no adjustments throughout the entire year to get yourself to a point like, okay, when June or May comes, I feel like, okay, I have a solid rotation. And that's the point I think Brendan Haywood is getting across about he and management, Blatt and management, which is really where Strife, everything's LeBron. Strife was really, from what I understand, is management and him. Where this dude, they brought players in, the dude won't play players. This guy here won't play man at the bench. Guys in the team wonder, like, why is Verjao not playing? Like, I don't understand. So as Brendan Haywood said, like, look, he talked to Eddie Johnson, Eddie Johnson and Termini. He said, look, Eddie, you as a player know this. If you get 5 minutes spelled off you by another player off the bench, man, you will take it because you know when you come to finish the game, you'll be fresher. That makes common sense. So he gave the example, like, there'll be times Tristan Thompson's dog tired, but he's putting him back in there when you could probably spell him an extra 5 minutes by putting Varejao out there. But he won't do it. You know, same thing with Mozgov. He won't do it. So at that point, you're sitting there going, like, what the heck are you doing? So I think these are all the things that are all part of it. And I'm not saying for all you guys there, the LeBron conspiracists, if LeBron didn't put his name in his face, LeBron get all passive aggressive, I'm sure he put some subliminals out there himself. No two ways about that. But I think in this case here, Blatt didn't serve himself well. He gave himself too many openings on too many fronts to get fired. I think more I hear stuff coming out. Like, if it was just LeBron being, LeBron's doing things, LeBron would have nothing to stand on. It'd be just like, okay, you're going to be a coach killer. But when you have other guys in the team, because we haven't even talked about Love yet. you think LeBron's chirping? I doubt he's the one who's chirping loudest. Methinks in this case, a fellow from Minnesota might be the loudest chirper of the bunch. But where's my touches? Okay, because dude probably said that you've been promised to get more touches when he signed his new contract. And dude's in no better situation. Okay.
I think Mr. Love's been firing some shots since he's been aiming at everybody.
Okay, right.
Especially after the Golden State line.
So I think we all need to expand out the categories. See, like when you have that, when you have supposedly Shumpert in this case grumbling not getting enough time, Mo Williams questioning why he's not getting more time. Add that to LeBron. And you throw all that in there, and you're sitting there going, like, what are you doing? Never mind the bonehead decision we saw in the playoffs in certain circumstances. We didn't know how much timeouts he had and stuff like that in certain circumstances. Almost got technical, I think, in this case, it cost him a game. Running plays for J.R. Smith. Who the heck's winning plays for J.R. Smith? Who the friends is running games? Like, really? J.R. Smith is the outlet for the play. He's not the one you're running a play for to make the decision. Anyone, like you never watched J.R. Smith play. You really want to make a decision with a series on the line with JR making the decision? The pass or shoot? Like, really? That alone should get you fired. No wonder LeBron says, oh, give me the damn chalkboard. Give me the damn chalkboard. Give me the whiteboard, man. What the heck you doing? Give me a break. You can 2-2 in Chicago. You got the series on the line here, and you can get the ball to JR here to make the decision. With LeBron James in the court, with at least one-legged Kyrie on the court, and you can get the ball to who? Get out of here with this, man. Come on, man, folks. Come on, son. Really? If anything, you should be fired after the season, to be honest with you. Just if that's the case of that decision, if that's how that play went down.
That's what I'm saying. It should be either fired after the season or before the start of the season.
Now that in that sense here, that means on Cleveland management. That in my mind there, I suspect what happened this case here is that, let's face it, we haven't even talked about the small man yet. I mean, we're way over time in this case, but I think this one deserves it. We haven't talked about Gilbert's the whole thing of this, because that's Gilbert's boy. I suspect that's Gilbert's boy. And I suspect in this case the GM probably wanted him out a little sooner, but that's Gilbert's boy.
Or it could have been a PR thing for LeBron. You never know, because if they got rid of him that soon, people were like, oh, there we go. LeBron got rid of the coach. So yeah, I mean, you don't know what's going on.
You can say that. Right? You can say that too. You can say that too. But I think when you've been, you got beat by San Antonio, fine by what 6 or so. But they had a lot of big games this year where you expect them to play better than they did. They got beat by about 12 or so by Toronto. They get trounced by 35 or 40 by Golden State. I mean, when they've been beaten bad. And heck, I'll be quite honest with you, when they won, it hasn't really looked that pretty. Now, true, you can say Irving was hurt. I grant you that, but you still have pretty much a full complement without Irving. It's still a pretty good team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've seen a signature Cleveland game yet for the series. For the season.
Which is scary. They're 30-11, and it shows you in this case here, like, yeah, 30-11. They still haven't really shown their top peak of what they can play at. I don't think so.
I think obviously barring like a catastrophic meltdown, I mean you can pretty much pencil Cleveland in for the finals. I think that they'll probably sweep the first round, lose a game in the second, lose a game in the third, and we're good to go.
The Eastern Conference final might be a little dicier than people think, depending who's in there.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say it'd be a big upset if I see anyone other than Cleveland in the finals. True. But stranger things have happened. But very true.
Yeah, stranger things have happened. On that note, man, Rafi, where can the people find you, man?
You guys can find me And let me apologize to the people in Tel Aviv because we're not discounting your championships here on the Crossover Podcast.
Oh, I am.
So, I'm trying to increase viewership, Brian.
Hey, man, we might get more viewership. The controversy.
You guys can find me on Instagram at Ravi to Ride.
And you can find me waving the Macabre Tel Aviv flag next time at the ACC for exhibition game at Beyond Locker Room, short form RM, man. Folks, man, we'll talk to y'all next week. Wow, what a week. Later.